Oboe player. Please help me welcome.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, fellow Toastmasters. I don't know if you've ever been to an orchestra concert that really moved your heart, maybe brought tears to your eyes, was a really meaningful experience for you. I hope so, but after my speech today, I hope that the next orchestra concert you go to will bring you some new appreciation for what you're listening to, and that you might have something new to listen for as you go to the concert. I'm going to focus on the oboe player and their role in the orchestra, and specifically how the oboe player makes their sound. The oboe player is not like any other player in the orchestra. They don't just pick up the instrument and play like a flute player. They have to make their voice. They have to make it out of bamboo cane. They have a big process of scraping and tying, which I'm going to give a little demonstration about today. And it's kind of a particular process, and so it's not as easy as a lot of the other instruments. It takes about a half an hour to 45 minutes to make an oboe reed, and I've got an example of a reed to pass around so everyone can see one. Maybe 1 in 5 oboe reeds actually turns out good, so you spend lots of time wasted trying to make a good reed. It takes, let's see, my oboe teacher, Eric Barr, said that to fill my practice room from floor to ceiling with oboe reeds, by the end of doing that, I might possibly have the experience and the expertise enough to really make reeds well. So it's an art form. It takes a long time to learn how to make reeds and to make good ones. Why would an oboe player why do professional oboe players need to buy reeds or make reeds? Why not just buy some? The reason is it's kind of like if you're a race car driver and you want to go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, you can't just drive a white minivan. You need a special car with special parts. That's how an oboe reed is. It has all the right special ingredients to making a good reed. Oboe players go through a lot of pain in order to create this sound. They suffer a little bit. They have to rely on something kind of unpredictable. So you can imagine if you're sitting in an orchestra and you're supposed to play something beautiful, you're relying on this little piece of cane that's very temperamental. The conductor points at you, you're ready to play, and all you can do is just squawk. It's very nerve-wracking. It's actually kind of embarrassing. It can be humiliating and even terrifying to have to play on such an unpredictable medium. This makes oboe players kind of insane. It makes them particular, exacting, obsessive, compulsive, and even psychotic because they want to avoid this pain so bad. So they work really, really hard to make their reeds. One example of this psychoticness of oboe players is Peter Cooper in the Colorado Symphony. He has a house full of bamboo cane. This is what oboe players start with when they make a reed. It's grown in France. It has a particular diameter. It has a certain hardness. It's grown under the right conditions. It's aged to the right perfection, it's kind of like wine or something. It just has to be just the right kind of cane, the right straightness. So in his quest for the very best piece of cane in the world, he has closets full of cane, shelves full of cane, cane coming out of his ears. Cane is all over his house because he's trying to find this piece of cane that vibrates well and makes a wonderful reed. He also has a knife to scrape his reeds. You use a knife to scrape the reed. It's not just any kind of steel from Pittsburgh. It's made out of samurai Japanese sword steel. It's sharp. It holds an edge really well, and you have to have the right knife. Hopefully this will help you appreciate listening to the oboe a little bit more. I'm going to try to demonstrate how to make an oboe reed from beginning to end so that you can see the process. So the first thing you do is you start with this special piece of cane, and you have to split it into 3 pieces. to the right length. So there's a guillotine that you have to cut it to the right length. You make a mess. And then it needs to be planed because it's really thick right now, so I have a planer that planes it. And then after that, it needs to be gouged out so that it makes kind of a curve. And I have a special machine that's set up to gouge the cane. This costs about $500. It's handmade, and it gouges the cane to a certain thickness and shape, which you can measure on a micrometer. It has to be about 65 micrometers thick.
Wow.
After that, you take that piece of cane. Looks kind of like this, and it gets folded all past that. You put that onto a shaper tip, which is wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. There's a lot of shapes that make different sounds. This shape is kind of a proven one, so you try to follow whatever your teacher tells you is actually going to work. So I have the shaper tip. Then, if you take that piece of cane and you tie it onto a tube that's made out of brass or silver that's measured to a certain length, you tie that on to your tube at a certain length. Then you cut it at a certain length. And now you're really ready to start making your reed. So you take your knife, and there's a scrape that you put onto the reed that makes the reed vibrate in a certain way. So it has to be really thin at the corners, thick in the middle, thick at the sides, and then there's some thinner channels down the middle that takes the sound down into the reed and makes the sound. So it's a wonder that any oboe player can actually make a sound doing this to do it. And nobody else in the orchestra really appreciates what the oboe player goes through to make their sound. I think I'll give you a little demonstration of what the oboe sounds like. I wasn't going to do this for this nerve-wracking. But once a reed blows well, it should make kind of a crow. Like that. It should crow a certain pitch, C. Concert you go to, and if you have a child that comes to you and asks what instrument they might like to play,
Don't.
be sure to recommend maybe the viola.